against James and that Raging Bolt deck.
Now, Raging Bolt's interesting because I feel that these are two decks that are trying to accomplish very similar goals. They're both just going to try and take prizes at a fast rate. Miraidon will be looking to use Electric Generator to power up Photon Blaster and or Ampu very much to take prize cards. But for James, we will be utilizing Bellowing Thunder, which lets you discard any amount of basic energy attached to your Pokemon. You deal 70 damage for each one. So I'll tell you what this match is going to be here, folks, at home in this Swiss Round 11 here at the World Championships. This is going to be a very fast, a very explosive, and a very high-octane game that I cannot wait to get started with.
Yeah, now it's interesting to note here that Raging Bolt has 240 out of range of Miraidon EX, which we've seen is very good in the early turns, go second, get a big KO. And it can KO a Teal Mask Ogapon, but it unfortunately cannot KO much else. But you've noticed
I've noticed
something very interesting in Iori's deck list here. Tell us what it is, Shay.
Yeah, my eyes widened when I saw it. So we just mentioned that Raging Bolt has 240 HP, traditionally outside of range of Photon Blaster. But what I need you to look out for at home is that Iori plays one copy of Iron Valiant EX. That Tachyon Bits will be able to place that extra 20 damage needed to KO a Raging Bolt. So, we've got a lot of stuff to watch out here for, folks. I cannot wait. This is going to be very exciting. It's like prize cards are being, looks like, going to get ready here. Looking here for Iori, we do see the one copy of Luminion and the Blood Moon Ursaluna. And then over for James has prized the Prime Catcher and the Squawkabilly. They are both very important cards. So both players do have some important resources there in the prize cards.
It's not ideal, and that Iron Valiant is huge because 220 used to be the magic number.
Yeah.
For Pokemon V's, 220 was the number you were looking to hit. But for Pokemon EX's, 230 and 240 is increasingly common. 220 is often not enough, but Iron Valiant dropping those 2 damage counters, getting you from 220 to 240 makes a gigantic difference. And in this matchup especially, that is how you get that Raging Bolt. But here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are rolling with round 11, and we got a Teal Dance from Teal Mask Ogapon. Attach an energy, draw a card, play a trekking shoes, and I tell you what, there's a lot of good hikes in Hawaii. Those trekking shoes are going to come in handy.
That's it, James putting his shoes on again, off to the races. Fantastic start. You're going to play that Earthen Vessel. But this card, a Professor Sarda's Vitality, a very important card that will be utilized a lot here for James, letting you attach 1 basic energy to an ancient box, well, 2 basic energy to 2 different ancient Pokemon. That's going to give you an 140 damage swing there for that Bellowing Thunder.
Yeah, that is quite nice, as is going second. And here's the thing, this is one of those classic matchups. Take a 2-prize knockout, and then just do that every turn. Take the first one and keep going. Both of these decks are very capable of getting a 2-prize knockout, turn 1 going second. Now, Iori will need to use Iron Valiant to take out that Raging Bolt, and a started Squawkabilly in the active, although to be fair, you still need to switch Iron Valiant into the active.
Yes.
But that is going to be what we're looking for. If Iori can take that KO turn 1, that is going to put them in a great position. So, decent start from James, get some energy down. Now it's over to Iori here, and the question is really simple. Can you KO that Raging Bolt?
Yeah, it looks like Iori there is just going to do a little prize check here as he's going to play that Nest Ball, going to work out what is available to him. And I think having that Blood Moon Ursaluna in the prizes is quite sad because that does do a crisp 240. That would have been a great attacker in the mid to late game, but not quite available now. And just looking through the deck there, did obviously prize 1 copy of the Miraidon and the Luminion as well. So they will not be available to him, at least for now.
And what is actually quite annoying there, that Blood Moon Ursaluna's in the top 2 prizes. Traditionally, players take bottom to top. And if you're taking 2 prize knockouts, there's a very good chance that Blood Moon Ursaluna actually doesn't come out at all. And like you say, when you get to the late game and its attack gets cheaper and cheaper, it gets so much better. But there's something else I've noticed in this deck list I think you need to know about what Iori's playing. It's a bit of a secret, but I like you guys, so I'm going to tell you, Secret Box, that is the A-spec we've got in Iori's deck list here.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Not one we see too often, but it can be rather strong. You can only use it if you discard 3 cards from your hand, but if you do, you can search your deck for an item, a tool, a supporter, and a stadium. That's a whole host of things, as we are going to see an electric generator being played. Did get 1 there, as that Nest Ball did conclude to grab a Miraidon. The Miraidon has that tandem unit ability to then pluck a Raikou, and then can't quite see what the other one was there. Was an Iron Hands was taken as well, as that electric generator did hit, and it looked like it's getting attached to that Miraidon.
Not too shabby. We've got a Raikou, we've got an Iron Hands, we've got a Miraidon on the bench. We've hit one energy. You might have seen during Stefan's game yesterday, Academy at night. Oh, here we go. I like this. Now we see a boss's orders coming out, bringing Tiamat's Gogapon in the active, so you don't need Iron Valiant for a KO. Then I believe that was Squawkabilly's Squawk and Seize ability being used.
But it is worth noting, did have to get rid of 3 copies of boss's orders there after Squawk and Seize. Only 1 copy of boss orders left, but we do have Electric Generator here in the hand. Doesn't have another basic energy though, so won't be able to attach for turn, at least for now. So let's see what this generator can do. This could really decide the tempo of this game if we see a KO. That'd be huge.
But didn't discard any energy and didn't draw any from Squawk and Seize. So in theory, there's all the energies in the deck. So that should up your chances of hitting from Electric Generator. Because if you're not drawing it or discarding it, it's all there in the deck. So,
but would need to move the Squawkabilly out the active. But you're right, does play a whole 16 basic energy. So there's a lot in the deck. Here we go, Electric Generator here, Ross. Will we see 2 little clap? 1, 2,
of course
3.
we do.
Oh my goodness, can't attach all 3, Iori, but 2 is a mighty fine number.
Yeah, double hit of the generator, and this is what I've been saying about these Miraidon decks. These new builds can attack with Miraidon a lot more readily than they could in the past. That means that it becomes a great attacker, and you see, I can't get the Iron Valiant, that's too awkward, so let's boss's orders up the Teal Mask Ogapon. If there's a switch here, this is, oh, we don't need a switch, we've got Beach Court.
Was Beach Court?
Yeah, there's a gold Beach Court down on the board.
Oh my goodness gracious me, Iori straight off to the races. Photon Blaster to take his first 2 prize cards of our round 11 feature match here. James on the back foot. Can he respond?
He played it right before the Squawk and Seize, and then we got distracted by Electric Generator. Now, there is one Academy at night in the deck, but Beach Court there, great for that pivot option. And this is what Iori needed. 2 prizes, turn 1, going second. James has to take a KO this turn.
So we need 4 energy to KO with that Bellowing Thunder.
Yes, we do, unless there's any kind of other modifier. Free energy will be 210. Miraidon's got 220. So we need 4 energy on the board discarded with Bellowing Thunder. And here's a Pokemon catcher. It's a heads.
So what we're going to go after here? Going to go after that Raikou. Does have, what, 200 HP, I believe. So 3 energy would get you there.
Yep.
And we're going to see a Power Pad shuffling in the Professor Cider's Vitality. But that's very important for James. Going to reuse them as often as possible to reload that Bellowing Thunder. So James looks like can respond this turn. So the pressure is going to be back on Iori. But Iori has set the tempo of this game. First player to falter here and miss a 2 prize KO will most likely go 1 game down.
Yeah, James has guaranteed the KO here. The KO is already on the board. Now it is set up your board as well as you can. Now, we do see the KO coming out there. Free energy, KO the Raikou. Here's the thing, though. Iori keeps his energy.
Yes.
And if I'm the Miraidon player, I'm like, cool. Yeah, have the Raikou, because the Raikou's only a good attacker when James has got a full bench. James doesn't have a full bench. You need to hit 220. That only happens with 2 full benches. There aren't 2 full benches. I want Miraidon with which to attack. This is where we need Iron Valiant. This would be huge. And I'm just going to go out on a limb here, Shay.
What's that?
I don't think James is expecting an Iron Valiant to come down and drop 2 damage counters in a Miraidon deck.
I think you are correct. I don't think anyone would be expecting that, but that would be absolutely huge. As James did put a Bravery Charm on the bench, Teal Mask Ogapon. That's going to boost that HP up to 260. So your Iron Valiant would be fantastic. That Tachyon Bits. When the Iron Valiant is in the active position, you can put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Active or bench does not matter. It would effectively be a +20. But worth noting, we do see that Future Booster Energy Capsule is attached to the Iron Hands, so that would be quite hard to maneuver around, as we are going to see an Arven being played here.
Yeah, absolutely. Go and get the Arven, go and get what you need. Iron Valiant here is what you're looking for, or a Future Booster Energy Capsule. Onyx is not a future Pokemon. It is a future Pokemon, but it's not a future Pokemon. Not the one from Scarlet and Violet. It doesn't get the boost, because that was before we had Paradox Pokemon officially in the game.
Yes.
You do need the Iron Valiant to get up to 240, and here we go. And they've actually, this is it, because you can use a Nest Ball to get the Iron Valiant, and then you can get something to switch with off of the Forest Seal Stone. So if Iori wants, oh, it's a Pheasant Dipty instead. I don't mind this going and drawing a bunch of extra cards.
Yeah, Pheasant dips with that flip the script ability, letting you draw 3 if any one of your Pokemon was knocked out on your opponent last turn. Very, very strong. And let's see what Iori does. Did grab the Forest Seal Stone as well, so we'll be able to attach that. There's like flip the script is being activated here, going to draw 3.
Well, we got Energy,
Lost
Vacuum, Ultra Ball. Ultra Ball will get the Iron Valiant if you want it. And it looks like we're eyeing up the Ultra Ball here. And here's the thing. You see James put the Bravery Charm onto the Teal Mask Gogapon.
Right.
James is clearly just thinking, well, hang on a second. You can't KO anything now. Miraidon only hits 220. If you knew about the Iron Valiant, might you put the Bravery Charm on your active Raging Bolt? And this is the thing about playing surprises in your deck. James isn't playing around the Iron Valiant, because why would you play around an Iron Valiant in a Miraidon deck?
Yeah, you're right. You really wouldn't. You just assume that they're going to maximum out at that 220 damage. We are going to see energy attached to active Iron Hands. We're going to see a retreat thanks to that future booster energy capsule. We're just going to see a Photon Blaster into the active. I think Iori might not have had a way to maneuver around an Iron Valiant if he could grab it. So he's going to go for the Photon Blaster. What this does set up, though, is a 3-prize Ampu very much as well.
It does, or even just a KO of Iron Valiant next turn.
Oh, that is true.
Because James doesn't know about the Iron Valiant. There's no reason for James to suspect Iron Valiant, so he's not going to play around it. Because why would you? Yeah. Because no one plays Iron Valiant in Miraidon. So there is a way that Iori can actually win next turn. Iron Valiant, cheeky drop the damage, big KO, job's a good one, off you go.
Did see the Lost Vacuum to remove that Bravery Charm as well. As it is James's turn, now going to play an Energy Retrieval, grab 2 basic energy, and use Teal Mask there to attach that grass and draw an extra card. James does have a lot of options in the hand, does have the Prime Catch. I think that is being played. They're going to bring up that Iron Hand, switch Raging Bolt into the active. Oh no, I don't think it has a Professor Sada though. Oh. So just going to be the Burst Roar, discard the hand and draw 6. That is a lot of tempo lost there for James. Can Iori win this turn? Well, we know it's possible.
Iori absolutely can win this turn. All you need to do is go Iron Valiant to KO the benched. You would need some Gusting. Prime Catcher is not available because Iori doesn't actually play Prime Catcher. It's a secret box deck.
Does play. There is 1 copy of Boss's Orders still available, though.
If you can find it, yeah. There is still 1 copy of Boss's Orders available. But Iori doesn't need to win this turn.
No,
because he just needs to take 2 prizes and win next turn. So could have a bit of a quieter turn. So what do? Here comes the Ultra Ball. Is it finally time for Iron Valiant? And I would love to see James's reaction if Iron Valiant does come out here, because I don't think James is expecting it. There's other options, but it's what I would be going for the Iron Valiant right now. I want those cheeky prizes, personally.
Anything, I don't know if he'll have a way to get it in the active and get it back out. So might not be available yet.
Might go for Mew. The problem is you only got 1 bench space remaining, so if you play Mew, you're not playing Iron Valiant here. Again, you don't need the Iron Valiant this turn. Iron Valiant next turn will be fine. The issue is you don't even really need 2 prizes this turn. To be honest with you, James can take 2 on his next turn, then you can take 4 because you've got the easy Iron Valiant knockout. So you don't have to actually do much this turn.
So that's going to free up a bench spot there from that Hyper Blow. We're going to force James to swap the active.
Oh,
now, Lost Vacuum
this.
is in hand, remember, folks. So we could see that Bravery Charm get removed, and then we could see a retreat into a Photon Blaster KO. That is a possibility.
This is huge. I think that's probably what we're going to... Okay, so we see an energy on the Mew.
Ooh,
remember, Mew is
that is so good as well, that genome hacking. Here
we
go.
go.
Vacuum, though, going to remove James. Little smile there, thinking, uh-oh, didn't expect that free retreat into the Photon Blaster KO, as Iori will take 2 more prize cards and only has 2 more left to take here. James, what can you do?
Unfortunately, well, maybe not that much. Remember, the easy Iron Valiant KO, we keep talking about it. Iori hasn't needed to take it yet, so hasn't taken it yet. But all Iori needs to do is just bench Iron Valiant, get it in the active, boom, win.
You know what else Iori could do is attach 1 more energy, Genome Hack, to copy Bellowing Thunder, discard all your energy, and that would be a fantastic way to do some damage as well. Multiple ways to win. And let's see what James can do here. Hasn't really done too much here. We're going to have to see a KO at the very least.
These are 2 decks that rely on big, fast KOs. Iori has been getting those big, fast KOs. James has not. And it's been as simple as that. James has had to take turns off. Iori hasn't had to take turns off. And, you know, the closest Iori got was leaving a Raging Bolt on 20 damage remaining.
So it looks like James did play a Pokestop, didn't quite get to see the conclusion of that, but I think we saw at least one item try. No, there's a Bravery Charm at the top, so I think there was 2 cards hit there. Didn't quite get to see what they were though, unfortunately, but there has been a staging replacement now. We do see a Teal Mask Ogerpon hit the bench as well.
Yeah, Iori's got so many routes to victory next turn, whether that's KOing the Teal Mask Ogerpon, whether it's Iron Valiant, whether it's trying to get a big KO with Mew copying Raging Bolt's Bellowing Thunder. There's a lot of ways for Iori to win and go up 1 game. What James really needs to do here is at least even up the prize trade.
Ooh.
Give himself a chance next turn. What have you seen, Shay?
We did get the Professor Sard. I think that was needed so we can actually get the second energy onto the Raging Bolt. We are going to see a Pokegear 3.0 being played. That looks like that's going to fail, unfortunately. It's going to shuffle those cards back in the deck, but the Professor Starter's Vitality has been found.
Okay, so that's going to get more energy on the board. That's going to give, and getting rid of the energy alone is pretty good. Right now, remember, Iori's only had 1 attacker all game. It's been that one Miraidon. Miraidon has taken all 3 attacks so far, dealing that 220, and there's free energy on the board if you want to copy something like Bellowing Thunder. Well, you know, losing free energy is going to be kind of annoying, honestly.
Yes.
And it will actually leave an energy. You'll have to attach you'll have to attach 2 energy next turn in order to Bellowing Thunder. Right, here we go. Big KO. And look, it really is as simple as, if you can just play an Iron Valiant and retreat into it, you win the game right here. Come on. I promise you guys, the deck list says there's an Iron Valiant in this deck. We're looking at it right now. It says it's there.
Oh, so we're going to see bench Miraidon. I'm going to activate Tandem Unit. It's going to consult the deck. Iron Valiant is there. But let's going to just go for a Luminion Boss's Orders, I think, by the looks of it.
There we go. Luminion comes down. Search for Boss's Orders. And we're not there yet. We're bringing up. There we go. Bring it up. What are we attacking? We're attacking with a Mew? Wow. We're attacking with something. We're getting a KO. And we have got the game. Now, I'm going to tell you something, Shay, here. Because I think the people at home might think I'm misleading them. And I promise you I'm not. Why? Tell me, Shay. Why did we not see Iron Valiant in that game?
I think Iori's been a bit of a cheeky and saying, I don't want to reveal that. Like, I was in such a commanding position that I don't want to show that is so James can't play around it, right? Like, sure, you could have just popped it out there and won, but if James isn't going to play around that Tachyon Bits threat, that's going to really leave Iori in a stronger position for games 2 and maybe a game 3. So that's my prediction.
No, that's the answer. That is exactly what I was going for here. I mean, look, I like the big fancy finishes. Let's go to have a look at replay. We can talk about this more in a minute. Let's see how game 1 went. And we saw that super quick start where we got the double energy off of Electric Generator, putting free energy on Miraidon, taking that first KO on the Teal Mask Ogerpon after the Boss's Orders, and Iori just never let up from there.
No, and you're right, and James did his best. Yeah, did have the Bellowing Thunder response KO. Did need to do that, but it wasn't on the Miraidon. So this Miraidon could just keep swinging over and over again. The Lost Vacuum Edition, removing that Bravery Charm. And from there, James was just constantly on the back foot. Did get a big Bellowing Thunder there in the mid to late game, but Iori was able to close the game out there with the Boss's Orders and take the first game there in our Swiss round 11 here at the World Championships. Currently 1-0 up. James will have to do the reverse sweep here if he wants to secure himself, or at least attempt to secure himself a slot in our top cut.
Absolutely, and here's the thing. Iron Valiant, I love these big flourishy finishes, but actually Iori did things correctly. If you've got something that can provide a big surprise that your opponent really has to play around, but doesn't know they have to play around, don't show it in game 1 unless you have to, because then in game 2, your opponent still isn't playing around it, and then you can go and get yourself that win. So if anyone's thinking I was misleading you, no. Iori's just doing things very, very carefully, and I love it.
So it looks like both players are shuffling up. I think James Martin or Mulligan is going to shuffle up there. And if you're James, just thinking, all right, you know, my opponent went off to the races a little bit here. Maybe they don't do that again. Maybe I take the first 2 prize KO, and all of a sudden I'm the one dictating the pace of the game. And you know, Raging Bolt is perfectly capable of doing that, right? As it looks like James is going to put the prize cards down. Currently, Iori is 1 game up here. And let's see how this game is going to unfold. Both players, it looks like James has opted for Iori to go first. And
absolutely.
And that gives us an opinion on how he's going to approach this game.
We just saw what happened when you let Iori go second. It did not go great. So here we see the Squawk and Seeds of Squawkabilly. Now this is the opposite to game one. Free energy, hitting the discard, nice and early. Not even any real good places to attach them. It's going to hurt for your electric generator later. But we do have Blood Moon Ursaluna that's a really good attacker that we never got to see in game one.
Yeah, it does 240 damage for a start. Good number. And then that Seasoned Skill ability lets you reduce one colorless attack cost for each prize card your opponent has taken. So James will have to keep an eye on that. Iori did use a Squawk and Seize there, has a nice full, well, not a full bench, but a lot of Pokemon. Electric Generator turn one here, because we'll have to go to the Iron Hands, but let's see what we get. Ooh, and it's a
Double hit.
Iori,
like
Takahashi.
But I'll say in this matchup, I don't love Iron Hands as much.
No.
I want free energy on my Rhydon, hit 220 all day long.
But
however,
it does take 3 prize cards on the Squawkabilly, though.
Well, I was going to say, unless I'm hitting into a Squawkabilly, in which case I am absolutely fine with it. But I do think that with you looking at the Iron Hands now, you're thinking, okay,
yeah,
kind of got to go into Squawkabilly here.
Yes. As it looks like, I think that was a switch card being played there or something along those lines. I think we're going to see a restart to draw one. Another electric generator. Is he going to use it? That would be 2 used, though. And like you said, Iron Hands is good. It's probably not the main attacker, so Iori isn't going to opt to use that. Academy at Night was also played there. And now it's over to James. Uh-oh.
That's a bad hand.
I'll tell you what that hand is. That's a Squawk and Seeds hand if I've ever seen. Academy at Night going to preserve that, Professor Sada. Love to see that. And we're going to see 3 copies of Basic Energy, a nice colourful discard pile there, as well as some Earth and Vest. Now this hand, we can start to cook with this hand, that's for sure.
Yeah, go and get a Raging Bolt with your Nest Ball. You've got a Teal'c Gogapon already ready to go. You have lost a bunch of energy, but of course that can be brought back with Professor Sada. But you also lost 2 Earth and Vessel.
Yeah.
So your energy is going to be a bit more awkward to get this game going forward, I think it's fair to say. Oh, as a side note, prizes-wise, there are free energy prize for Iori, which is less than ideal, and the Forest Seal Stone, but there's nothing major for either player, but I think Iori's had the worst of the prizes here.
I would agree. I would agree with that as well. So we're going to see the Pokestop being played there. Can't quite see it. Oh, double catcher and a Teal'c Ogre-Pon. That's going to have to get sent to the discard pile, but Pokemon Catcher, that would be very nice. So that won't be able to hit into that Iron Bundle. I know James really doesn't want to hit into that if he can.
No.
Professor Sada Vitality, only the 1 target, unfortunately. That's only going to be 1 energy, but we'll get to draw 3. Obviously, Teal Dance can still attach energy as well. There we go. Teal Dance, draw 1.
And here's the problem for James here. Iori's gone, hey, fun news. I'm going to leave a 1 prizer in the active, so it's pointless for you to KO it. Oh, and actually, James is also being let down by the Professor Sada, only giving half value. This has not been a great turn 1 for James. You certainly don't want to overextend to discard 2 energy to get a big KO on Iron Bundle, but you don't have any single prizes. I mean, maybe Sandy Shocks you could leave in the active? Maybe?
Well, we do see the Pokemon Catcher, so we'll be able to try and go around the Iron Bundle if you like. And does have loads of energy in play from the Teal Dance. We're going to see a manual attachment. So now, how do we get out the active, though, actually? I'm not sure we can. Oh, there's a switch card in hand. I apologise.
But you have to hit heads off catcher. Oh,
here we go.
2 in hand.
There's 2 in hand off the Pokestop. Here's the first one.
The Tails.
Go on, James. Show us
this
run it back.
Huge.
Hey,
oh, okay.
Got the head. Okay. And looks like we are going to chase the energy here on that Iron Hand. I love that. Going to remove all the energy. Switch card. Going to switch that Squawkabilly out of the active. Now Raging Bolt's going to come into the active position there and bellow some thunder. And James takes our first 2 prize KO here in our Game 2 round 11. Now the pressure is on Iori.
Yeah, Iori here going second. Going second is where you want to be. Iori had to go first. James got the turn 1 KO going second. Had to use a lot of resources, had to try 2 Pokemon Catcher, but eventually got the KO, okay?
Yep.
Now it's up to Iori, but the problem is, not only do you have to keep the KOs rolling, you have to hope James falters, because if James just KO, that's the game for James. This is how these kind of decks roll.
Looks like we saw the Pokestop being used there, and I think 2 cards hit the discard pile, so that would assume that Iori got 1 card. Looks like our boss's orders is at the top. So that would imagine that got discarded at the very least. And let's see, Ultra Ball going to be played here. I imagine it's going to grab the Miraidon, so you can start using Tandem Unit perhaps.
Might be a Raikou instead. And it's like we said a lot with two, it's a 2-energy attacker. No, we do. Okay, so we get the Miraidon, which will get the Raikou.
Yep, so Miraidon activate Tandem Unit to then grab the Raikou there, Raikou as there as well. That Tandem Unit ability is so good, letting you grab any 2 basic Lightning Pokemon and put them straight on your bench. Players have been playing for a while there. Remember Battle VIP Pass, you've eventually got that on an ability you can use every turn. Absolutely incredible. Electric Generator here being played, Ross. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a lot of energy in the discard pile. Just the 1.
Yeah, there's a lot of energy in the discard. You had all your energy removed during James's previous turn. It means hitting energy off the Electric Generator becomes much better. But that's why we put it on the Raikou. It's a 2-energy attacker.
Worth noting, it looks like off the Pokestop, the item that was hit was the secret box. Now, you would have to discard 3 cards to use it, so even with restart, you won't actually be able to use it right now, but that would be an option for Iori.
Yeah, coming up later on in the game.
Or we could see a retreat into fleet-footed, and at that point, it could use the... Oh, is this
no,
concession?
Iori's just going to concede. I like this concession from Iori. Saying, look, you know what? You went second, you got the first KO. James, have game 2 because you took the first KO. I'm struggling a little bit. But hey, guess what? Guess who's going first in game 3? Ain't gonna be me, mate. We're gonna try and have a repeat of game 1. So James wins game 2, but a very tactical concession from Iori. Maybe you can claw that game back, but the most likely result is you're gonna lose in 10, 15 minutes time. And then you're going to have a short game 3. Well, you know what? You get to choose to go second in game 3. Let's have the maximum amount of time. This could be the difference. Remember what we said?
What do we say?
If we get a win and a tie from this point, you're on 29 points. That may or may not be enough. You get 2 wins. You're on 31 points. That almost certainly will be enough. Don't play for the tie, play for the win.
I 100% agree with that. A tie isn't really what both players want to see. So we're going to get enough time to conclude a game 3 here. So Iori would have been very tough to get back in that game. Worth noting though, we still haven't seen the Iron Valiant reveal yet. So James still isn't aware of that. Hasn't even seen the A-Spec being used either, I think. So there's quite a few unknowns there for James, but most likely going first here. So can Iori get a replica of game 1, or will James be able to claw it back? We're going to have a very exciting game 3 here, folks. 2 explosive decks going to try and take 6 prizes as fast as possible. And quite honestly, Ross, I can't wait to see how this is going to pan out.
This one's going to be fun. Here's a question, though.
Okay.
Do you think anyone at home actually thinks we've misread the deck list and Iron Valiant isn't in there? Because we have checked, and I promise you, Iori is playing Iron Valiant in Miraidon. It is in there, and I want to see James's reaction if that comes out to take a big KO. Because, look, I've played with and against Miraidon a lot, and I am not ever expecting Iron Valiant. I don't play it in my list. I don't ever see it when I play against it. We haven't seen it in the other lists we've had on stream. But this is one of the cool things about the World Championships. Japanese deck lists tend to look a little bit different than American or European deck lists. And this is one of those changes that maybe in Japan a lot more people are playing this. Although I haven't seen it myself personally.
Looks like James has mulliganed at least 2 times here. Then that's going to give Iori 2 more resources to work with. It's going to make that turn 2 KO much easier, I would imagine. James looks like has got a basic this time, so we'll be able to start the game as prize cards are going to be dealt now there for James. Worth noting, Iori has prized that secret box and the Mew EX, and James has prized 2 copies of Energy Retrieval. But it looks like our game 3 is starting here. Over to James. He has top deck, has led the Raging Bolt EX with the best lead you can have. Trekking Shoes into Poke Gear. Game 3, here we go. And we are going to see a Teal Dance activation there from the Teal Mask Ogerpon. Manual attachment to the active. And it looks like, another Teal Mask Ogerpon getting benched. And I imagine we'll see a pass here.
That is a decent turn 1. You've got 2 Teal Mask Ogerpon down, 2 energy on the board. Right. Here we go. We've been saying it the whole time. He already started with Luminion. That's actually sneaky annoying because you can't use the ability and you don't have access to Mew or Secret Box, but because they're prized. But then the question becomes, can Iori go here and get this turn 1 KO? If Iori can, then they are absolutely in the driver's seat for this game 3 in round 11. If they can't, That opens up the door for James, and we said it a lot, but I cannot stress it enough. First KO in this matchup, absolutely crucial.
And there we can see Iori's prize cards there, Secret Box and the Mew EX aren't going to be useful, well, aren't going to be able or available to Iori, at least for now. Now, Iori has a couple of hurdles he has to get through this turn 1 if he wants to try and get a KO. Has to maneuver this Luminion out the active, that's the first thing. Second thing, we could see a KO on the Raging Bolt, right, via Iron Valiant and a Photon Blaster, but I think it might be easier to use that Iron Bundle to sort of push that out the active and then get access to the 210 HP Teal Mask Ogerpon. So let's see what Iori opts to do. The Arven does conclude grabbing a Nest Ball and a Forest Seal Stone. Now remember, that Forest Seal Stone can be attached to that active Luminion V, give you access to that Star Alchemy that will allow you to grab any card you like from your deck. Nest Ball being played here, also, I would imagine we'll be seeing the Miraidon Tandem Unit, grab 2 more, or grab another one, and then use that Tandem Unit to maybe grab some more as well.
Yeah, that is a great thing about Tandem Unit. You get to grab 2 Lightning Pokemon, but one of them can be a Miraidon that gets you more Lightning Pokemon. I agree with you, incidentally, about the Iron Bundle. One of the cool things about Iron Bundle is if your opponent only has 1 bench Pokemon, or in this case 2, but they're basically the same,
yep,
you can force them up. It's kind of like a Pokemon catcher without the coin flip, or a boss's orders, but it's not your supporter for the turn. It means you can basically force something into the active rather than giving your opponent a true choice. I say basically the same because one does have an energy. That won't be the one promoted from an Iron Bundle.
We are going to see that Star Alchemy activation here as well, Ross. So let's see what Iori opts to take here. Going to be that Squawking Seas. I like that because the actual hand for Iori wasn't the greatest. I thought there was a lot of energy, so we don't really need them. We need to see Electric Generator. So let's see how the Squawking Seas will treat Iori. I love that ability. Only use it on your first turn, but if you do, discard your hand and draw 6. Fantastic attack here.
Yeah, love it. It's only for turn 1, but it's a phenomenal option on turn 1. So get yourself a new hand. You don't really want to discard a bunch of energy. We've got an Electric Generator coming down here. Hits 1 energy. Not perfect, not terrible, but at least we get some energy down. We will need a second Electric Generator to be attacking this turn, though. Miraidon does not do it with 1. And remember, Raikou can start getting KOs. If James has a full bench, don't think it's a coincidence that James never has a full bench in this matchup. Yep. He's playing around Raikou.
Yep, you are correct. We're going to see a manual attachment to the Miraidon. That got 2 energy on it. We are going to see if it was that switch card. It's going to get Raikou in the active. So can use Fleet Footed to draw a card if you like. Going to bench Squawkabilly EX and Squawking Seas activation. Now let's see how these new 6 cards will treat Iori. We need to realistically see an Electric Generator. Switching cards would help as well.
And it's really upsetting. Secret Box would be a great card to hit. Mew EX would be a great card to hit. Neither of those are options. So we got an energy attachment for the turn. Would love to see an Electric Generator, and I would love to see an Iron Bundle. We've got a switch card. Now again, what we can do is if we can hit 220, but we can't hit 220. Pheasant Dipty only works after a KO. Mew is prize, Secret Box is prize. I don't think Iori's got a route here to getting a turn 1 attack.
Nope, there was no Electric Generator there in that hand, so no extra energy will be played. You can sort of tell by the body language there on Iori. Looks a little bit disheartened there, so it looks like we're going to see a Tandem Unit activation. I think that was a failed search there as well. Now this gives James an opportunity to really start to apply that pressure. If we can see a big Bellowing Thunder KO, maybe even with some sort of gust so you can try and KO that Miraidon and remove energy, that could really be backbreaking here for Iori.
And it's worth pointing out that going first, you have already had a setup turn. You've already got some Pokemon down. You've attached some energy. So it means that big KO on turn 2 becomes that much easier. And it is a pass from Iori. There is no turn 1 KO. That is huge for both players. And with 18 minutes left, that means James is really on the offensive here. Tails on Pokemon Catcher, not a good start, but does have Prime Catcher in hand.
Does have Prime Catcher in hand. We did see the Beach Court retreat there for Iori to get that Raikou out the active. We do see a stadium replacement for a Pokestop. And we are going to see an Iono being played here. So that means we're not going to see a Professor Sada. That's not an option now. But Teal Dance can get you there. We need to see a Fighting Energy there, though, to attack with... I did not see a Fighting Energy or a way to get one, at least for now.
No, Pheasantipti only works after a KO, like we keep saying. Squawkabilly is not an option because it's not turn 1. Radiant Greninja, however, could get there. So use Radiant Greninja, discard the energy. I think there's a grass energy in hand. That will allow you to draw a couple of extra cards, lightning as well.
So we can even use Till Dance as well to draw extra cards. We are going to see a Nest Ball concluding for that Raging Greninja, and a Nest Ball going to grab another copy of Raging Bolt EX. All right, James, you have a chance to get ahead here. You've been given an opportunity, but we do need to see a KO. Otherwise, Iori, this could be a very backwards to and fro game. We see a manual, we see a Till Dance activation. Earthen Vessel, Ross, off the Till Dance.
That'll do very nicely. Discard a card from your hand, search for any 2 basic energy, and that will, of course, include the fighting needed to show that Bellowing Thunder coming in, and that is absolutely huge. Iori's best hope here was James missing the fighting energy, missing the attack, and then, it's Iori now can get the first KO and not let up. That is not happening now, and that is huge. James must be quite a relieved fellow right about now.
Must be bellowing with happiness here with the way he found that fighting energy. We did see that Earthen Vessel conclude. Another Till Dance activation, gets to draw 1 more card, has plenty of energy. I think we saw the manual attachment to the active there, Raging Bolt. So now Bellowing Thunder is live. 70 for each basic energy you discard from any of your Pokemon. So that's going to be immense, really. We see another Raging Bolt getting benched. So worth noting, there's a full bench now, Ross. We did mention that with a full bench, Raikou can start to be more of a factor. But here we are going to see the Bellowing Thunder activation, just counting up, going to discard 2, 3. I think we need 1. We need 1 as well.
One more here.
Yep, 1 off the active. There we go. 240. James with a Bellowing Thunder KO takes his first 2 prize cards here in the game 3. Iori, you need to respond, and you need to respond fast.
Yeah, Raikou now can hit 220 with a full bench for Iori, which actually really helps. It's a 2 energy option, but of course Miraidon already has 2 energy, and it's got 2 energy. You need 1 from your hand. You're good. But I think we saw a peek of something in the hand there.
Iron Valiant is currently in the hand.
2 bench spaces. We're playing a Nest Ball here to use 1 of them. It's got to be Pheasantipti here because, 3 extra cards for nothing. Yes, that'll do nicely. So here, look, the deal is you KO the Raging Bolt. You get rid of all the energy on James's side of the board, and you go, look, you need 4 more energy. That is Attachment for Turn, Till Dance, Professor Sada. If you can pull that off, then I'm in a bad spot here. So, take the KO, cross your fingers, hope it doesn't come to that.
Right, so we saw the flip the script there. I think it was Ultra Ball, Basic Energy, and Boss's orders were grabbed. So we need to see some switching cards, though, if we'd like to use the Tachyon bits. Ultra Ball going to discard 2 copies of Basic Lightning. Let's see what Iori opts to grab here. Looks like Ursaluna is being taken.
Yeah, Ursaluna, very good option. Hits a flat 240 against Raging Bolt EX. It's a 5 energy attack, but it's reduced by 1 for each prize card your opponent's taken. So right now, it's a 3 energy attack. What is annoying, we do actually see 1 double turbo played in the deck. It's not prize this game, but that brings from 240 down to 220. So you're then actually short of a Raging Bolt, and Lightning Electric Generator will not work onto non-Lightning Pokemon like Blood Moon Ursaluna.
So it looks like Iori was just debating whether to use that Pokestop there. We are going to see it 1, 2, and a 3rd. So 2 copies of Nest Ball, probably not the item we really want to see. We did see a Lightning Energy get discarded there as well. I think Iori hasn't had a problem getting basic Pokemon out of this game. We need to see energy and switching cards realistically, or at least ways to buff that damage, because right now 240 is outside of range of Photon Blaster.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. Secret Box has not done anything in this matchup so far. Imagine if it was a Prime Catcher, for instance. You feel like that could have had more impact. I'm sure there's been plenty of times this weekend where Secret Box has been phenomenal for Iori, but it's not working out in this particular game. Now, we do have an Electric Generator in hand, which it does look like is being played here.
Yep, we do see it being played. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There we go. And 2.
Double hit. Nice. Straight onto the Raikou. Now, here's the thing. You kind of need a Future Booster Energy Capsule, or you need an Iron Valiant. And even though Miraidon is a future Paradox Pokemon, this version in the card game came out in Scarlet and Violet, an actual Paradox Pokemon that can use cards like Future Boost Energy Capsule came out 3 sets later in Paradox Rift.
Yes.
So it's not an eligible target for something like a Future Boost or Energy Capsule. So Iron Valiant is, I believe, the only way to actually get there. Now, again, this is not the end of the world.
No, it's not.
Because you can Iron Valiant next turn to take the KO, Iori is actually keeping up with the prize trade here, but you're also leaving James with an energy on the board.
Yes. So James does have a way to sort of leapfrog here and take 2 prize cards. However, that hand doesn't really look that great. It's going to have to try and find Professor Sada, as we are going to see an energy retrieval. So there we are. That's going to grab 2 energy there, a basic fighting. And we're going to see a Teal Dance activation. Professor Sada here would be huge. Sandy Shocks isn't quite there yet. Pokestop could find Pokegear. That is an option. Bravery Charm could actually push the Raging Bolt outside the range of Tachyon Bits, funnily enough. If James opts to do that, probably wouldn't, but looks like we did see a Pokegear off the Pokestop there being grabbed. That was really important.
Yeah, that could go and get the Professor Sada. I've got a point I want to make, but I'm going to make that in a moment because we need to have a look at this Pokegear. Professor Sada, absolutely huge to be got on over here. Does hit it.
Well,
that is a big hit off of that.
Look at that smile there from James. He knew he was in a bit of trouble there if he didn't see the Professor Sada. Worth noting as well, we did see a switch card off that Pokestop. That could, if that was used for whatever reason, that would actually heal damage as well. So worth keeping an eye on for that.
Yeah, it would make it harder to get the KO with Iron Valiant.
Yep.
One important point, because Iori didn't take a KO, Pheasant Dipty isn't live right now, and James did actually have that in hand, but obviously couldn't play because it wouldn't do very much. Now we get the 2 energy down, and
wow.
I think we are going to see it is a switch cart. James not really playing around the Iron Valiant, but is playing around the Iron Valiant almost by accident here. But now we see a new Raging Bolt in the active, and this is where it is getting very hairy for Iori here, because you need to keep up with the prize trade, and now that pseudo KO on the last turn really isn't a KO, and you're losing your Miraidon, you're losing 3 of your 5 energy on the board, and you're putting your opponent 1 KO away from winning. It was looking so good for Iori back in game 1, but James has made a, well, reverse sweep, you called it.
Yeah.
It's still on.
It is, as we do see a Power Pad being used to shuffle back in 1 copy of Professor Sada, and we do see a Bravery Charm getting attached to the active Raging Bolt, where it now has an absolutely monstrous 290 HP. Bellowing Thunder for a big KO there. James has 2 prize cards left. Iori's still on 6. Needs to respond fast if he wants to try and secure himself a win here. The hand currently doesn't look the greatest. Remember, we have seen 2 electric generators being used here already. So any trying to power up a new attacker is going to be more difficult.
Well, the attack is easy. You use Blood Moon Ursaluna. It's a single energy attack now. Your opponent's taken 4 prizes. So the attack is fine, but it's got 290 because of the Bravery Charm. So you need to find your one of Vacuum or some kind of Gusting to the bench.
Both of which I think are in hand, by the way.
The biggest issue is you're not down 1 KO, you're down 2 KOs here. And that's the problem. Even if you get a KO this turn, you're still a KO down. So James has got 2 turns to take that final KO. That switch cart was absolutely gigantic. And I'm finding that this game, it's going to be really hard for Iori to get back into this game at this stage. Great game 1. Really good decision, I believe, to concede in game 2.
Yes.
To make sure you have plenty of time in game 3, going second. It seemed like the right choice, and yet we sit here at the moment and it's not working like we might have hoped.
No, you're right. 2 KOs back, as you mentioned. It's going to be tough. You have to rely on your opponent missing at this moment in time. It looks like Iori is going to play a Nest Ball and is going to grab the Iron Bundle. Remember that Hyper Blower ability, basically pushing your opponent's active out of the way, then they have to promote something else.
Yeah, and then again, you can KO either the Teal Mask, but if I'm James, I am happy. Oh, here comes the Iron Valiant. Finally, we see the Iron Valiant comes into the active, and this would have been a KO were it not for the switch car. Now we see a switch car into the Iron Bundle. And there is still a chance that over the next couple of turns, Iron Valiant can actually turn that into a KO. Now we see the boss's orders onto the Greninja. We got an Academy at Night coming down, and they pass, saying to James, I don't think you have enough energy, but James has energy, switch cart, energy retrieval, and here we go. We see energy, boss's orders. James takes a big KO and wins 2 games to 1. James is still in absolutely good position here to make a run into the top cut of the 2024 World Championships.
Yeah, James piloted that fantastically. Did lose game 1, could be very easy to get demoralized, but does win games 2 and 3, the reverse sweep. Hearing plenty of cheers there from the crowd, as well as James did win, making a fantastic showing there of the Raging Bolt deck. Maximum commiserations there to Iori. I feel as if did everything he could have done. That game 1 went exactly to plan, but in game 2 and 3 didn't quite draw as he'd like. But James still had to close the door and make sure he won, and he did exactly that.
Yeah, absolutely did. Great play from James there. And like you say, it's so easy to get disheartened if you lose game 1, but James kept it together, put a couple of good games in a row, and look, Iori had a couple of bad breaks there, didn't draw what they needed at times, but James absolutely took advantage. We see another big cheer for James as the headset comes off, and it's kind of fun being at the World Championships. There's so many games going on around us that we hear a cheer, and I have to kind of look around, and I'm like, wait, was that Unite? Was that VG? Or was that, oh no, it was TCG. People were cheering for James.
They were. I think these people right here, they were having a big cheer for James. They're representing Australia and doing a fantastic job of doing so. What an I said at the start, didn't I, that this matchup was going to be, you know, just high-powered attacks being fired off left, right, and center. And I'm feeling absolutely electric after that, if you pardon the pun.
Oh, no. That's a decent enough pun. One of the cool things about being at Worlds is we do get to be out here on the floor. We're not stuck backstage as we often are. We're out on the stage, surrounded by people, trying not to get distracted. I think doing a pretty good job, but it means that we can really hear the crowd, see their reactions as we're commentating, and makes it so much more fun. So James there gets himself up to 28 points. Still a lot of work to do. I do have some news though.
Okay,
if you are a Maridon fan and you're a little bit sad that you just saw Maridon lose, you might be heartened to know that Jesse Parker, Maridon, 11-0.
You can't even have on your hands the amount of wins he has right now. Hold a finger up for me. That's how many wins he has. Can't even do it on one hand. With how many losses? Put everything down. That's how many losses he has. And that is ridiculous. 11-0.